Welcome to I Drink Your podcast.
Oh gosh, it's a real pleasure to be here. Thank you.
You leave me no choice. Here comes the smolder.
Wait, you like that?
No,
you don't like that?
No, I don't like that.
No, how about that? You like that?
A little better.
Bread makes you fat?
Does this count as annoying?
Just tell me what you want me to fuck!
Not you, and not you.
Okay, I think it's time to take off your clothes and jump me.
$1 million isn't cool. You know what's cool?
I drink your podcast! I drink it up!
Welcome, everyone, to I Drink Your podcast 2010, where we're exploring movies from 2010, the best and the greatest, of course, which is why you're listening to this episode. I am here with Ben, my co-host.
Hi, everybody.
And no one else. So it's me, Emily, and Ben.
All you need.
All we need. And all of our friends that come to life when we're not in the room.
Oh, I don't like that.
I don't know. I'm sorry. It's like almost Halloween, so I guess that's a thing. Before we get too deep in the movie, if you like our podcast, or at least you're listening to our show, which is great, if you'd like to rate us or share us with a friend or two, that would be really, really wonderful. It would make our days for sure. Ben, as tradition on the show, what is in your glass?
I decided to do a throwback to my childhood, being a boy of Minnesota. We call it pop here, not soda. So I have something that my parents called pop juice, which is just half Sprite, half Kool-Aid.
Oh, nice.
So I got some cherry Kool-Aid and a little can of Sprite.
Very fancy.
Oh, yeah.
Pop juice.
Pop juice, that's right.
0% juice.
Well, Emily, what do you got?
I also did a throwback to my childhood, and I'm having some warm apple cider because why not? On a fall day, that's what would keep me warm inside.
Okay. Do you do the cinnamon sticks in it when you or cook it over the stove?
Sometimes, but I didn't have time. So this is truly child prepared with a microwave.
Oh, okay, perfect. Well, before we jump into Toy Story 3, let's quick talk about something I watched recently. Emily, have you seen Brian and Charles?
I have not. I've never even heard of it.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Why haven't you watched this?
I didn't know it existed, Ben. What are you talking about?
Now that you do, you need to watch it, because this is an Emily movie through and through. And Wesley, I don't know if you still listen, but if you do, you should watch it too.
It's not animated, I'm assuming?
It's not animated, and it's not a musical, so I know Wesley won't immediately hate it.
Okay.
But it is this whimsical tale of a lonely inventor who decides that he's going to build himself a robot. And it is British and done in a mockumentary style. And
God,
it is
your
just
favorite.
the cutest, most adorable movie. The robot is maybe one of my favorite characters of any movie this year.
Really?
He speaks in a robot voice, but his progression through the movie is like a child growing up in the way that he interacts with his creator.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got a really fun dynamic as he starts going through his angsty teen years. But it's just a really fun, cute movie, and it made me feel really good inside. And I encourage anyone who needs a pick-me-up to just check this out. I believe it's on Peacock right now. So if you have Peacock, check that out. Otherwise, find a way to watch it, because it is just so good.
Man, it looks real weird.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Charles, it's basically a mannequin's head on top of a washing machine.
Yeah.
And I found out this after I watched the movie, but this was started as an improv troupe thing where they created this character of Charles who would perform at stand-up shows and do improv bits. Please check it out if you have time. It's a great movie.
What the fuck is wrong with me?
Seriously.
Why haven't I watched this yet?
Fix that this week. This week, though, we did watch Toy Story 3.
So good.
So good. Toy Story 3 is currently at 98% on Rotten Tomatoes and was nominated for 5 Oscars, including Best Picture, Editing, and Adapted Screenplay. And it did win 2 Oscars for Best Animated Feature and Best Original Song, which after watching this movie, I couldn't even tell you what the song was.
I'm assuming it's the what's the guy's name that does the You Got a Friend in Me?
Randy Newman.
Thank you. Randy Newman's new song that he sings that's kind of sappy and sad.
When does it play in the movie, though?
I don't remember, but I was crying.
Okay.
Now, come on, guys. We all knew this day was coming.
We're getting thrown away?
No one's getting thrown away.
We ain't ever getting played with.
Hold on. This is no time to be hysterical.
It's the perfect time to be hysterical.
Should we be hysterical?
Now!
Yes! Maybe, but not right now.
Come on. Let's see how much we're going for on eBay.
This was the first animated movie to ever make $1 billion at the worldwide box office.
Whoop whoop. What's the next one?
I think Frozen did it.
Oh, that would make sense.
And I don't know if they classified the live-action Lion King as animated or not, but I know that made a shitload of money, too.
It should be animated. That's
Absolutely.
all it is. Live-action Lion King.
Toy Story 3 was directed by Lee Unkrich, who was a co-director on Toy Story 2, Monsters, Inc., and Finding Nemo, and later directed Coco. So he's a Pixar boy through and through.
He didn't leave and come back?
No, he's been just straight with Pixar this entire time.
Got it.
And starring in this movie is the regular crew of voice actors. We're actually just going to call out the new additions. So you've got Ned Beatty as Lotso, Michael Keaton as Ken, and Blake Clark taking over for the late Jim Varney as Slinky Dog.
I didn't even notice that his voice was different.
He did a great job. I know Blake Clark and Jim Varney were really good friends. So it was kind of him stepping in.
Oh.
As like a memorial remembrance of him. So well done, because if you didn't notice it, then he did exactly what he was trying to do.
That's great. If you haven't watched Toy Story 3 yet, you probably should. If you like Toy Story 1 or 2, I don't know what is wrong with you for not watching those. So spoilers, I guess, if you're going to keep listening. So this movie is the third in the franchise of 3. And I'm going to talk about what it's about. As Andy prepares to depart for college, Woody, Buzz, Jessie, and the rest of Andy's faithful toys wonder what will become of them. But when a mix-up lands them at Sunnyside daycare, they meet a host of new toys and soon discover a wild new adventure is just the beginning. That, thank you, is the perfect synopsis. Enough to have a problem and enough to be like, I don't know, there are no spoilers.
You can do this, though, when you have a sequel. And
That's
a
true.
lot of the movies we do on the show aren't sequels, so...
They have to give all the backstory.
Yep, when you already have established characters of Woody, Buzz, and Jessie, they're not expecting people to come into this one having not seen the first two.
Unless they're like 4 years old and they're not going to care.
Right, and in which case they're not reading the back of a DVD.
You don't know that.
This movie was nominated for Best Picture, and at this time it was the third animated movie to ever be nominated. Beauty and the Beast did it first in 1992, and then you had Up in 2009 and this one in 2010.
Was Spirited Away not nominated?
Not for Best Picture, no. It was nominated for Best Animated Feature.
Got it.
But not like the big award. Yep.
Got it.
Do we think that this is warranted, a Best Picture nomination for this animated movie?
So, if we're talking about the details and the story, just yes, I would say it is really, really great and definitely deserves that. I think our nostalgia kind of maybe challenges that point of view a bit, where we're like, don't know if you can give that to a trilogy or like the third in a movie or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I really, really liked it. There were a lot of like little things here and there, but I feel like it would, I don't know what the other Best Picture nominations were besides King's Speech, and was Social Network one of them? Mm-hmm. But I feel like it's up there.
Yeah.
It's got some really incredible editing. Obviously it was nominated for that, but like it has some incredible emotions and acting, voice acting in it. Just amazing.
I was mistaken. It was nominated for Best Sound Editing. That's it.
I
That's
don't
a key
care.
word that should have been in there, but yes.
Either way, I think the editing and the animation was amazing.
I agree, and I really enjoyed this movie more than I remembered liking Toy Story 3. I've always been of the mind that Toy Story 2 is like the pinnacle of the of the franchise. this is up there with Toy Story 2. I like what this movie does with the story it chooses to tell. In thinking about its fitting within Best Picture, so in 2008, there were only 5 Best Picture nominees. And that was the year that both WALL-E and The Dark Knight didn't get nominated in 2008. So people were in an uproar over, we're not nominating enough movies to be relevant if these 2 popular movies that are so well done aren't being nominated. Mm-hmm. So in 2009 and 10, they decided to do 10 nominees,
Holy
like a flat 10. And Up and Toy Story 3 got nominated. And then in 2011, they went to a preferential balloting system where it needs 5% of first place votes in order to be nominated for Best Picture. Since then, there hasn't been an animated movie nominated again.
Wow.
For Best Picture. So this one, I think, did get a nomination because of the year that it happened to come out. And I think, as you said, Emily, with the nostalgia piece of Toy Story was this groundbreaking thing. Let's give it an award kind of in retrospect. Mm-hmm. Kind of like how they did, I feel, with Return of the King. Where Return of the King, I didn't think was the best Lord of the Rings movie, but let's give the entire franchise all these awards to show how much we love it.
That's a fair point, for sure. And I mean, I'm always going to be skewed because I love animated movies a lot more than I love normal movies that the normal person watches. And that's just who I am. And so just seeing this movie again and the strides that they've made in animation from the first Toy Story to the second and then to the third, even 12 years ago, this was so beautifully done. I love that the humans looked normal finally. Yeah. You know, that was a huge thing that they did. The different ways Woody would move his face. I read somewhere that they had like over 200 nodes on his face to make different facial expressions, which totally makes sense because when you see his face, like his face is amazing. You know, it is human emotion, but on a plastic doll. So like I said just a little bit ago, I think that with the animating and the editing and how they put everything together with the story, I think that it for sure holds up to be, in my opinion, a good Best Picture nominee.
Yeah, I agree. And you think about where this Toy Story franchise started off, where, as you mentioned, the humans didn't always look right. They looked a little blocky.
Looked so bad. They looked more like the baby in this movie.
Yes, yeah. And I actually read that Lotso was supposed to be a character in the first Toy Story movie, but at that time they couldn't get the fur right. So they ended up scrapping him from the movie and then adding him now that they've, gone through Monsters, Inc. with the fur there and they figured out the water. And the thing that they said they struggled the most with in this movie was getting trash bags correct.
That is amazing because I even thought when Rex his tail is like trying to pierce through the trash bag, I was like, that is so good.
Right.
Like that was the thing that I thought about.
And the thing I love about the Toy Story franchise, and at least the first 3 movies, the first one does such a good job of tackling these adult, and not necessarily adult, they're more universal. It's the idea of being replaced in the first movie. And then the second movie, the idea is about like, how does legacy play into who you are? And then this third movie is all about moving on. This is probably the most existential animated movie that Pixar's ever made because it's all about like mortality and like accepting your own fate. And this movie goes deeper than it probably needs to because again, it's all of our old friends back together. Like this should just be like a fun hang around, like the third Madagascar movie was. Like, yeah, they're in a circus now, yay! But no, this one chooses to try to do something and play to the audience that started out in 1995 with this group of people and is now older. And I think that's the hallmark of this series is that it grew with its audience.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm glad that you brought that up because I remember going to see this and everyone at my high school was talking about it because I was a junior in high school when this came out. And my friend Andrew, he was a senior and he was in like my theater crew and I just freaking loved the kid. He really identified with the Andy character because his name, but also because he literally grew up with the movies. He remembers going to see every movie. And that was the year that he was going to college. So he was just fucking destroyed. And so speaking of people growing up, I still think about that. When I first saw it, I wasn't quite there yet, but I was definitely getting to that point of this realization that I'm growing up and I have to make some more adult decisions, which was very scary at the time. And now looking back on my life in the last 12 years, it still hit me just as hard because now I've experienced a lot of those things in a deeper way rather than just I'm leaving for college. So I don't know if this is a kid's movie.
Well, and this comes at the end of a string of Pixar movies that most probably wouldn't say are kids movies. Like you start in 2007 with Ratatouille, you go Ratatouille, WALL-E, Up, and Toy Story 3.
Oh yeah,
which,
dude.
that's a gauntlet of hard-hitting movies for even adults.
And they're really, really good.
They are really good. But what I wanted to know, Emily, is at this time you were in middle school and high school. Did these movies still hit you in the way that they probably did me, where I was in my low to mid 20s?
So let's back up a little bit.
Okay.
Yes, like higher middle school, I think was when Ratatouille, I was like in 8th grade. And I will tell you, Ratatouille, WALL-E, Up, and Toy Story 3 were the ones that I remember the most.
Okay.
They're the ones that impacted me the most and the ones that I rewatched the most as well. Well, I shouldn't say Up. I don't rewatch Up, but I do remember going to see that with the kids that I was nannying and just crying 7 times in the opening while they just like laughed at me. I mean, they were crying too, but they laughed because I was I was kind of an adult at that time. So I felt like my emotions were a lot more valid watching those movies, where it was okay for me to have intense reactions. And I never really had too many issues expressing myself. I just grew up in a very loving atmosphere with friends and family, but those movies impacted me in a way where I remember those ones more than I remember other Pixar movies. Like, who the fuck remembers Cars?
Well, I mean,
the worst of them.
Picking on Cars is the easiest thing to do when you're talking about Pixar.
No, I know.
Yes.
And like, I like Monsters, Inc. I really do, but it wasn't quite as impactful to me. Even Toy Story 1 was not as impactful to me as this group of movies.
Is that because of the themes presented or because of the age at which you watch them?
Could be both.
Okay.
But like, I was very into the environment, so there's WALL-E.
You were very into elderly people.
I was gonna say I was really into the bird. Thanks, Kevin.
Oh, there you go.
No, I think with that one, I don't think I would have seen it unless someone had made me to go see it, because I didn't really know what it was about. But after seeing it, it definitely impacted me a lot. But Ben, you were in your 20s. What were your experiences?
I mean, I remember Ratatouille hitting me really hard, and WALL-E is still my favorite Pixar movie. So this was really the peak of when I was starting to examine films with a more critical lens instead of just kind of watching passively and enjoying. So I appreciated the level of detail in these movies. I appreciate, especially in this one, and this is something that maybe you don't appreciate as much, Emily, because of your limited movie knowledge, but the callbacks to prison movies of like the 60s and 70s that are in this Toy Story 3 are very well done. If you've seen a prison movie from that time, Cool Hand Luke, The Great Escape, you understand the beats of what's happening here. Even if you've only seen like a heist movie like Ocean's 11, like you understand the beats that are happening and you just appreciate the story that's being told in that part better. And I think that's one of the reasons I like this movie more now than I did when I first watched it, is because I've had 12 years to kind of fill in the gaps on prison movies and really better understand the cliches and the homages that are being paid within this.
Definitely. And I don't think I would have caught on to those if we hadn't started a podcast and dragged me into it. Because I definitely found a lot more appreciation for details that I wouldn't have noticed. Yeah, I had a great time. Obviously, Ben and I really liked this movie. And if you don't, fuck you.
Oh. I mean, if you don't, please tell us why. Like, send us an email. and let us know why you don't like this movie, because I'd much rather have a discourse.
I mean, I do have like one like bad weird thing.
We'll save the weird and bad.
It, but it definitely doesn't ruin the movie.
Well, I've got some hot takes too on this movie. Should we start with that?
Some spicy hot takes?
Some are spicy. Some are just me being a teacher and being like, what the hell are you doing? Let's start with that one.
Okay.
Turn down the fucking fluorescent lighting in the caterpillar room, because that's why your kids are misbehaving.
God. Thank you.
Get some natural lighting up in that bitch.
Do they even need the lights on?
No. The other room doesn't even have harsh lights. Like, why when they go to the sunshine room or the caterpillar room, is it so bright and obnoxious?
And I learned this recently from one of my physics teachers. The waves of blue light is actually way worse for you than like red light. When we think of emotions, blue light is supposed to be like a calming energy, but really red is what's better to have a calming atmosphere. And I was like, that is super cool. Didn't know that.
So that's not really a hot take. That's just more me being a teacher and being mad that you would even set those kids up to fail like that. Here's one, though, that I feel is a hot take. Bonnie's manipulative, and she guilts Andy into giving her Woody.
Oh, fuck yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you on that one. The way that she looks at him and like gathers up all these toys around her and she's like, this is my cowboy.
Yeah.
Fucking 4-year-olds.
Yeah, that something about that rubbed me the wrong way. I always felt like, oh yeah, Andy was ready to move on. And watching it this time, I'm like, I don't know if he was ready for what just happened. Because he looked devastated when he looked at Woody.
Sad. Oh, he was gonna take Woody with him to college.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it might be best for Woody, let's be honest. Like, he needs to be with his family, and Andy probably really doesn't need him. But fuck,
okay,
I brought a stuffed animal with me. I brought a stuffed animal with me to college.
Okay, we need to talk about that.
What?
18-year-old Andy. Do you think he's thinking about what's best for Woody in his decision making?
I don't care about that. I meant like Woody, us as the audience, understand that Woody needs to be with his family, not with Andy.
I thought you were trying to say that Andy was
considering that.
Yeah, I can't break him apart from Buzz. Like, no, okay.
He already broke him up from Bo Peep.
Yeah, that's true. You haven't seen the 4th Toy Story, have you?
No.
Okay.
What? That's foreboding. God damn.
Well, I'll have to adjust more of my weirds later, because one of my weirds is related to the plot of this in conjunction with the plot of the 4th one.
Oh, okay.
And I don't want to spoil the 4th one for you, so.
I don't know if I'm ever going to watch it, so, but, you know, we can.
Maybe for this podcast in 10 years. Okay, last hot take. Lotso was right.
About that toys are just trash?
Toys are trash. Well, I mean, you could say it about people, too. We're all just trash waiting to be thrown away.
Oh, absolutely, but you got to make the most of it.
Agreed, but also Lotso has every reason to be upset about being replaced.
Oh, he definitely does. Yeah, he definitely does. I don't know if Chuckles and what was Big Baby, that's his name.
Yeah.
I don't think they really supported their friend in his time of need. I don't think they did a good job of trying to support him in processing this and coming up with like a more effective solution than making other toys' lives miserable.
Okay, I do want to defend his friends, Lotso's friends a little bit. If I'm looking for emotional support, I'm not going to go to a baby and a clown. It's seeking out that person to talk to, you know? Like, they probably did the best that they could.
Yeah, so Big Baby became the bouncer.
Yep. Well, Big Baby was just going to do what he's told, because he's a good baby. He listens. Chuckles, I mean, okay, first of all, the voice of Bud Lucky for Chuckles is perfect.
Oh, it's so good. It's
what a
so
great casting choice that was. But also, with that voice, like, he was probably not a fun guy to be around.
And the fact that he was a clown. God, yeah. Everyone hates clowns.
I also had a realization in this movie that I hadn't thought about before. Every individual part of the toy is alive.
Yeah.
That scares the shit out of me.
A little bit, yeah.
Like, Potato Head's individual eyes, like, they move apart from the body. Like, when we see Tortilla, Mr. Tortilla and Mr. Pickle.
Yep.
Like, I didn't like that.
Really?
That makes it even more frightening to me.
That your toys are waiting in the next room about to do something.
And that even if I destroy them, their individual parts can like reconvene into something new and take me down.
We learned that in Toy Story 1 with Sid. Come on.
Yeah, but
exploding toys.
Sid was he was a talented surgeon, putting toys back together. There was at least a wholeness to those toys when he was done.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, let's talk about the toys from Toy Story.
Oh, before we do that, because this is really fun, would you have a particular toy that you would voice? Either one of the Toy Story toys or one that you would make up?
Oh.
I was just curious.
I love me dinosaurs. Like, I would love to be another dinosaur with Trixie and Rex, like part of that group.
But with like long arms.
Yes, yeah.
Are there dinosaurs that have long arms?
I mean, like if you think about like an Allosaurus or a Brontosaurus, they're
okay. At least you can use your neck.
Yeah. I mean, what would you be? I
was really on the Beanie Baby train. And so for a while I was thinking I would be a Beanie Baby, but then I was like, no. I would be a Lego action figure for sure. And I know that like Lego movie's a thing, but I know that I would be a Lego action figure. I don't know what. Shit, no, I would be a dragon from the Lego castles and King Arthur stuff. That's what I'd be. There's a black one that has orange eyes and orange fire. Yeah, I know exactly. That's the one I would be.
Okay.
So kind of a dinosaur.
Kind of a dinosaur, yeah. So the Toy Story toys.
Mm-hmm.
This is a problem I had with this movie.
Okay.
You're Andy.
Mm-hmm.
You're 17. 18 maybe.
Okay.
Even if you are keeping toys that were important to you, why do you keep 2 potato heads? They should have been thrown out years ago.
I have 0 answers for you on that, Ben. At least with the piggy bank, it made sense.
Yeah, sure.
You know, he's storing some change in there still. Honestly, I think it's just nostalgia. That's the only reason why he kept them. But there is no fucking reason.
The Mrs. Potato Head is his sisters. I did not understand that. I understand from characters keeping them along, consistency. From a storytelling standpoint, Andy having 2 potato heads still, no, I'm not okay with that. When you look around the room and Wheezy's not there, you're not keeping Wheezy, but you're keeping 2 potato heads? Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
Yeah.
Please tell me you remember Wheezy.
I do remember Wheezy. He talked like this.
Until he gets a squeaker fixed.
Oh yeah, he gets a squeaker back.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole blooper. There's a whole blooper where he loses it again. Oh, that's right. Do you remember that?
No.
He swallows his squeaker because he's singing at the end in one of the bloopers, and like someone hits him, and he's like, "Oh no, I lost my squeaker again."
That wasn't Wheezy the character. That was Wheezy the actor.
Fuck
because it was
off.
a blooper. Give me a ranking of the toys. Which one do you most want to play with?
You know, and this is kind of dumb, but I would choose Woody and Jessie and Bullseye because I like the floppiness of their limbs, and I like that I can kind of whip them around to do whatever, but they're not rigid. And so I was always about like non-rigid toys. Like, yes, I think the dinosaurs and like Buzz action figures are very fun, but the softness and pliability of characters, I could do a lot more with them to play.
Interesting.
Or like sliding down railings. That's the first thing I thought about. And I was like, I can wrap their legs around it and like get them to slide on their own without me doing that.
Yeah. I was never a big like doll or action figure kid. Slinky Dog is by far the one that I would spend the most time with. That toy looks just like so much fun, and I love the character design of him.
He's awesome. Is there like a real Slinky Dog? I know there's Slinky toys, but you know, did they ever make something like that for real?
I mean, I assume it's based in some reality. I've never seen one.
I've never seen anything like that in the real world. And so that's why I would ask you, because you've been alive longer than me.
I'm worried that if I just search Slinky Dog 2, it's just going to come up as a Toy Story character, which it does. So it looks like they made it because of the movie, but I don't know. I want it though. Like I would play with that still. I still have a Slinky that sits on my desk at work for when I'm fidgeting around. Yeah.
Slinkies are great as long as they don't get tangled. Then they're useless.
Well, I know when we were talking about ranking the Toy Story characters, you wanted to do it in terms of sexiness.
I thought it was funny. And we definitely can agree that Bullseye is the sexiest.
Bullseye's an animal in this movie. Like, it's not even...
So?
Bullseye not talking is like the Pluto not talking in the Disney characters.
Yeah, but Pluto looks weird.
But Bullseye is a toy, but he's the toy that doesn't talk because he's an animal?
If I have to pick something else, it's Michael Keaton.
Oh, absolutely. And not even as Ken, just Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
Let me play with him.
I would love to play dress up with Michael Keaton.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about that.
Yes.
In fact, let's transition into the good, bad, and the weird with that, because my winning for this movie is the Ken fashion show and the character of Ken.
Oh,
that is
yes.
My favorite part of the movie. It is the thing that makes me consistently laugh the most. Him trying on all the different outfits and seeing all of the Kens, the poses he strikes as he's doing his like his fashion show for Barbie. I love that entire sequence.
It's great. And the first thing I thought of was I could see Michael Keaton doing this for real. And oh shit, I want to see that. I want to see him reenact this right now.
If I had $1 million of expendable money, I would pay Michael Keaton to do that entire Ken scene.
He probably would do it for free as long as you gave that $1 million to like a charity of his choice.
Perfect. I still need the $1 million. It's so.
You could probably convince him to do it if it was like a way to raise money for charity.
Yeah.
He seems like the guy that would do that.
So anyone with connections to Michael Keaton, maybe a Funny or Die video, if that's still a thing, some sort of YouTube video, a TikTok. I want Michael Keaton doing a fashion show in all of the Ken outfits, including the astronaut outfit.
Yes, please. I'm going to call out the animators in my winning, because the animators are what I loved the most. And I already mentioned Woody's like facial expressions and everyone's just minor details that just added so much depth to the feels that I had. But by far, beating my winning out is just the animators that worked on Mr. Tortilla Head.
Yes.
Because you talking about you laughing at Ken's fashion show, I was fucking hysterical with Mr. Tortilla Head. I did not remember that happened. And him wobbling around and trying to walk and putting himself together, and it's somehow flopping up to stand enough for him to walk.
Yeah.
I couldn't fucking stop laughing. I was like, what is happening right now? Why are we using a tortilla for this? He could have rolled it up, but no. I loved that idea. I fucking couldn't handle how funny it was, and I was just cackling like an idiot.
Let's stay on the animators too, because specifically I want to call out the opening scene.
Yes,
with
that
the
was
train
one of my
heist.
favorites too.
Very well done. I love that the second movie and the third movie kind of start with this like play scenario idea. Like the second movie's the video game, and this third one is a throwback to Andy playing with his toys.
Yeah.
I love that way of diving into this world. I would watch whole movies where, you know, Ham is this evil
Dr.
Dr. Porkchop, and the potato heads, since they still have to be around, they're part of the heist too. I would watch whole movies of just play scenarios with these characters that I love. And the other one I want to call out is the landfill and trash incinerator scene.
Yeah.
Because there is so much detail in those shots, especially when you do like the far out shots of all of the trash after it's been mulched, and you can see like the individual pieces of trash that they're sitting in and the way it's flowing into the fire. It's beautifully animated.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that you can still see, like, it doesn't lose, you don't lose the characters.
Yeah.
In that monster amount of garbage too. Like that, I think is really impressive, where there is this fine detail of each piece enough where you can see how it moves and like sticks around to like the different characters and reacts to like their movement. But at the same time, the characters themselves, they stand out enough as toys would.
Were you teaching at the school I was at when we did the PIXAR thing at the Science Museum?
Yep.
When you think about shots like that, and then you think it takes 50 hours to render a single frame of a shot like that at that resolution, like you just think about the amount of time and detail that goes into each, 1/24 of a second of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mind-boggling because it's not the level of detail or work that goes into a normal movie.
Right. And that's part of the reason why I feel like animated movies sometimes just get ignored when it comes to Best Picture or just general award nominations, because animation a lot of times has to go through so much more work. Sorry, filmmakers, but there's just so much more that has to happen in order to make that film. Like, that's why I love stop motion animation too. It requires so much discipline and work to make something amazing.
And let's be fair to other filmmakers. There's lots of other work that goes into those movies that don't go into animated movies.
Yeah, I know.
But I absolutely, for anyone to say that animation is like a lesser medium, you're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah, fuck you, Wesley.
Okay. Spanish version of You Got a Friend in Me is better than Randy Newman's version. And I'll die on that hill.
Wow. I don't know if I've thought of it that way before. I liked it, for sure. But I think I liked Spanish Buzz dancing more than listening to that song.
Okay.
Although it fit so well. Like, I really liked it. You're right. It is really good.
Something about Randy Newman's voice.
Yeah.
Do-ba-do. Like, it's just so weird. I don't know.
I also really loved in this movie just all of Bonnie's toys. I thought that was just really fun. Like, I know there's the whole daycare stuff, but Bonnie's toys and their interactions of like just Bonnie's imagination and then transferring that to just like them being toys. It was just this whole little universe that you got to be a part of suddenly that was just like brought you into, you've been stuck in Andy's toys and world, and now this happens here too. And it just brought a nice flavor life sort of thing. That makes no sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I also love the toy that thinks he's an actor.
Oh my God.
Mr. Pricklepants, I think is his name. I love that. I love the dynamic of all those new characters.
Yeah. There's no way out. Just kidding. There's the door. There are really some amazing pieces to it. And even when Bonnie is just like playing, I love the part where Dolly the witch like comes up with Bonnie's hand and they're all acting and playing, and oh God. And then they all swarm Woody and like, oh my gosh, you're a natural. And we as the audience are going, oh my God, this is great. Like,
yeah,
he's not doing anything. just wonderful details that I didn't think that I would like to see. And I kind of wanted to know how they came up with some of the like playtime plot lines. You know what I mean? I think it's really cute and imaginative where adults can definitely come up with that stuff, but I want to know where the inspiration came from.
Yeah, I almost wonder if they just had children come in and they just observed and videotaped them playing and were like, okay, I like what you're doing here. Let's expound on that idea.
Yeah.
I'm stealing from this 4-year-old their playtime imagination.
Yeah. But again, like I said, I think adults can definitely come up with something like that for sure, especially in Pixar. They definitely have a very creative outlet and supports network of creativity. But sometimes it just is nice to think that like this is coming from a real child's mind.
How about Bad?
I know you love Ken.
I do love Ken.
I know you love Ken. But it
don't
bothered
ruin
me
this for
then.
me.
It bothered me then, and it bothers me even more now in 2022. But the emphasis on Ken having these girl tendencies and him being a girl's toy, I know you can get on board with that. Even when Barbie is disguised as Ken and wearing high heels and like his handwriting in the end credits scene, I'm just kind of like, okay, that was a thing.
So I appreciate you calling that out because that was in my weird. More for the part, though, because I felt personally attacked as a man with beautiful handwriting.
You do have beautiful handwriting. There are many men that have just beautiful handwriting.
Yep. So them making the faces like that not only that was hurtful to me also. So that's why I called it out as weird, is I felt personally attacked. My other bad, and I don't know how much I want to harp on it, but if you really think about this movie, there's not a lot of character development. It's the characters we know from before going through an adventure and ending up kind of in the same place that they were, maybe not location-wise, but in terms of growth, which I feel is different from the first two Toy Stories.
Yeah, and there is this amount of acceptance, though. Like, all of the toys were not ready to be done with Andy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they hadn't had that acceptance, or at least Woody hadn't had that acceptance, and that was kind of the main through line throughout of Woody's like, no, we have to get back to Andy. We have to support Andy. And so in that regard, he was able to like not really lead and have his like family lead him to it's okay to go and play with other children. I don't know where I'm going with that.
Well, and what you just said about Woody wanting to get back to the group, that was my other weird, because Toy Story 4, all of a sudden he's got a completely different mindset where he's ready to leave Bonnie behind by the end.
Oh, snap.
So the fact that we go from a third movie, which is set maybe 8 or 9 years after the second movie, would you say?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we get to the fourth movie, which is really only set maybe a few months to a year after, because Bonnie's still really young in the fourth movie.
Yeah.
It just feels a little off. But I also don't count Toy Story 4 as being part of... There's a Toy Story trilogy in my mind, and then there's a fourth movie.
Okay.
So I can kind of write it off that way, but it made it feel a little off to me.
Yeah.
And we haven't even talked about it yet, but where did you start crying in this movie?
Oh, I cried multiple times. I definitely cried early on. I even wrote down, fuck, I'm already super sad and it's only been 10 minutes and I'm tearing up. I don't remember what happens in the first 10 minutes. It might have been where Woody's looking through all like the photos and memories. And that's when I started like tearing up because I know what happens. Also cried in the incinerator when they're all holding hands. Oh, fuck, that gets me every time. And then from that point on, I'm just a huge mess, especially as Andy leaves. Are you tearing up right now?
Yeah, that incinerator part gets me every single time. Something about the way that the toys look at each other and like reach for each other's hands, like that just...
And then they close their eyes.
Yeah,
and
that just breaks
like,
me.
Bundle together. Yeah. It's hard, man.
Well, and even thinking about it not from a toy standpoint, but from a human standpoint, like I think all of us have a little bit of a fear of our own mortality and dying, and to be put in a position where you have to kind of accept your fate and just prepare to die. I don't know how I would react in that moment, and to see the strength of these toys through it. It's just, it's encouraging.
Yeah. Shit, you're making me cry.
Sorry.
It's okay. We're just big old saps on this show, everyone.
Did you have a weird?
I had a couple, and one of them, and I feel like this is so dumb to be weirded out by it, but, and because her parents are right there, but Andy playing with Bonnie is very cute, but for some weird reason, every time I've seen this movie, I think this is the third or fourth time I've seen it, I get a little bit of some cringe vibes of him introducing the characters to her. It's like, no, dude, like, she's a child. Don't talk down to her like that. But he's not. I don't know why I have a problem with it, but apparently I do. And I feel like, right, tell me that scene is sweet, right? Please tell me it's sweet and not weird. Is it weird?
There's a little bit of weirdness in there.
Thank you.
Validated. The introducing the characters feels like the movie doing a victory lap on itself. Of like, let's like, have you ever seen the Twilight movies?
Yes.
How about at the end of Breaking Dawn Part 2?
No,
the last one of the series.
I've only seen the first two.
Okay, they do this thing at the end of Breaking Dawn Part 2 where they show like individual title cards for each character, and they go through every character, and it's like them doing a victory lap of like, look at all the people we've had. Let's look back and think about all the people we've met along the way, this tremendous journey we've had. And that's kind of what this feels like to me. It's like,
is it on par with some of like those college movies that end with this person went on to go do this thing?
No, because all it is it's the actor's name and like them in character.
Oh, okay, that's super dumb.
They do it at the end of the live action Beauty and the Beast movie too, which is completely undeserved. Like, you guys were around for a 2-hour movie. Like, fuck you with your pretentiousness. There's no victory lap needed for Beauty and the fucking Beast. But yeah, that scene's always struck me as weird because it just feels like it's more of a meta thing where it's like, let's look back at all the characters we've met along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels shoehorned in.
Yeah.
Also, Bonnie being so manipulative is why I don't have any like emotional connection to the ending. Now, like you say you cried all the way through to the end, and it's like, nah, I'm upset that Bonnie's got Woody. Woody should be with Andy.
Okay, I have one more weird.
Yeah, let's hear it.
And I have to ask a parent because I just don't know. And I do also have to ask, was Ellie ever in daycare?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Because now you can answer these questions a little bit better. Maybe you know a little bit more than I do. So we've got the caterpillar and the butterfly rooms, right?
Yep.
Okay, so a caterpillar room, I know that they separate by like ages and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But as an educator and someone who hears stories from my friends about daycare, I'm very bothered by all of the choking hazards of the toys that they're not vetting in there,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that they're just painting with toys and not trying to make them last. But at the same time, it does seem like an expensive daycare that goes through, like, they have this huge mess. And so maybe their mentality is, we don't care, we'll just throw everything out when it gets dirty. I don't know. It really bothered me that this was really that much of a problem, where they were not making sure the kids learned to properly play with the toys.
Yes, any daycare that's charging what Sunnyside is likely charging would
They're
not
charging
be run like that.
so much money, right?
Would not be run like that. So this is a weird of yours.
This is a weird, yeah.
I'm completely on board with this weird because there's no way that financially they would just be like, yeah, fuck up all the toys you want, paint anywhere you want, and
use Jesse's hair
toys.
To paint things.
Come on.
Dump glue and sparkles all over everything.
And we see no adults supervising during this montage of
so
toy
many
wrecking.
of them could choke on all the little pieces everywhere. Like, come on.
I mean, maybe you pay less for the caterpillar. Maybe it's not developmental, and maybe the caterpillar room is the one you pay less for.
Oh God.
So it's like an economics thing where the butterfly room is the rich kids.
Oh God. I don't think it is, because when you look at the actual sizes of the children, and they even do reference that this is the toddlers and don't know how to take care of them. But I don't know how much daycare costs generally, but I have been told like the YMCA, it's like $400 a week minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like the cheap end of daycare.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here going like, excuse me, why are we using toys like this?
Mm-hmm.
If I was in there, fuck, those kids would have been just like, nope, we're going to sit down and we're going to be done playing with everything until you learn how to behave.
I was fortunate to find daycare for Ellie that was run by like a woman in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And wasn't an established place like an Anna's Bananas. Not to call out any, I don't know the quality of them, but like I always felt more comfortable putting my daughter in a place that had like 5 or 6 other kids rather than a school. Essentially, is what this is, an unsupervised school.
Which is not a thing. Like, they do not unsupervise those children. Like, my nephew goes to, I think, a kindercare, which is a thing. And they have legit teachers that will take care of the kids, and they keep it at a pretty small ratio depending on the number of children and the ages of the children.
Mm-hmm.
So it just really fucking bothered me this time.
Let's put a cork in this thing, Emily. Give our final thoughts on Toy Story 3. If
you don't love this movie, I don't really want to be friends with you. This is a movie I don't think I can watch on repeat, though, because it is emotionally devastating to me. Watching it again from the point of view of a 30-year-old woman now. I can see some flaws with it, but generally I find more value and more depth to it and cherished every moment.
Yeah, this one doesn't have the replayability of Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 2 for me, which I can keep going back to over and over again because it's just fun. It's not the emotional drain that this one can be in some parts.
Jesse singing about Emily doesn't make you cry?
No, it doesn't.
Or do you fast forward through that one like I usually do?
No, I usually watch it, but that for some reason, maybe it's because it's in song, it just doesn't connect with me.
Mm-hmm.
Because also the song is done in this like external way where all of a sudden Sarah McLachlan's voice comes in. And
that's
it's like,
true.
what?
That's a fair point.
So it doesn't feel part of the character. It feels like a storytelling device.
Yeah.
But I highly recommend this movie. I love this trilogy of films. Probably my favorite animated trilogy there is, and maybe one of the better trilogies of any film. So highly recommend watching this one.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Good work, Ben.
Yeah, way to go. Who needs everyone else when we can do this ourselves?
We'll just do a podcast, just Ben and Emily.
Next week, we will have one of our co-hosts back, Dylan, to watch the Ben Affleck directed The Town. Have you seen The Town?
Is he in that?
He is in it and he directs it.
Okay. No, I don't think I've heard of it before.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it either.
Fun. Do you want to do the thing?
I know a little bit more about it than you do.
Okay, I'll write
so
it.
I would rather you did it, yeah.
Oh my God. It's going to be Ben Affleck as buff as possible.
Yeah.
Just hanging out in a town.
You're probably going to be pretty close.
All right, Ben. We had a great time, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
I want to have a better time. So before we go.
Oh, no.
I love this so much. I would like you to end our episode by saying, I drink your podcast, I drink it up. But I want you to say it with Mr. Potato Head's voice. Oh, wait, no. Mrs. Potato Head's voice. That's what I meant to say. Mrs. Potato Head's voice, because hers is very memorable.
Yeah. I drink your podcast. I drink it up. That was awful.
It was really bad.
I am so fucking devastated right now. I may not be back next week.
Do you want to try again?
No. I need to go watch some Seinfeld and get the voice down. I'll try again next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.